with Drip, when I approached like Logan Paul, I sent him the shoes. Next thing you know, he's rocking it on like some red carpets. Tuned in Tokyo, which is my first 8-figure brand. We're the largest automotive apparel company in the world. 65% of our sales for Tuned in Tokyo come from mystery boxes. For all of my products, I build products for my customers, for my community.
Hello, Frankie.
Hey, how's it going?
How are you?
Good, good.
Whereabouts are you based, Frankie, at the moment?
Yeah, so I'm in California.
Whereabouts in California?
I'm about 45 minutes away. I'm in Riverside, California. From LA. So it's like yeah, it's kind of towards, I don't know if you've heard of like Orange County. It's like towards that area.
Got it. Love all the paintings in the background, all the artwork. The Gandhi one sticks out.
Oh yeah, I mean each one kind of like means something. Yeah, definitely. But for motivation purposes, you know?
That's super cool. Frankie, how I first came about you, I think was watching one of your podcasts. It was a clip I randomly saw on Instagram Reels maybe a year ago. You were sort of talking about tuned in Tokyo and you were sharing your story. And then I've sort of being in the ecom space, I've always just seen you pop up, and that's sort of how I came across you and your stuff. Frankie, please tell me and the audience a bit about who you are and sort of what you're currently focused on at the moment, and I guess we'll take it from there.
Yeah, so I've been building brands since I was 16 years old, guys. Specifically in the fashion and apparel niche. I started my journey really young, and now I'm 31 years old, so I have like over 15 years experience. Just like every other entrepreneur that like claims that they started from rags to riches, my story is kind of like no different, but it's actually true. And like I've recorded the entire process. I'm from Southern California, and I'm first generation American. So my parents migrated here from Mexico, and they literally came here with nothing, not a single dollar to their name. My dad lived under a bridge for a long time. Never had no school education at all, since nothing at all. There's zero school. He grew up in a ranch out there where basically you learn, like you grow up and you learn to work with your hands. My mother was literally born no different, except she did kind of go to school a little. She was actually here in America like since like 6 years old or something like that, and eventually they met up, and yeah, like little by little they uh worked things out and eventually had me. So my childhood was like a little more like it was just difficult for sure than most people. And they ended up splitting up when I was like 3 years old. So we did a lot of moving during this time. I am like trying to figure out why we're moving so much, why I'm going from one place to another to another to another. And I realized that the thing that was like kind of holding us back as like just us being stable somewhere was our financial status, was money. So I blamed everything, all the problems, the pain that my family went through on money at such a young and early age. At like 7, 8 years old, I started realizing the brands on cars. Like, what's the difference between a Mercedes and the piece of junk Toyota Corolla that would be breaking down on my way to school? So I started realizing all these things. And when I told myself that when I got old enough, that I would do everything possible to get this money in the most legal and ethical way that I can. And luckily, like this is like I wouldn't say my life has been very lucky. For sure, I've probably dealt with bad luck, but I did get lucky once, and that my lucky break was definitely me finding my passion at 16 years old. So I fell in love with clothing and streetwear, and I had this crazy dream about never giving up. Like never, whatever it is that I have, whatever it is that I can get, I will never give up on like pursuing whatever it is that I imagine. And I had that crazy dream about building a clothing empire. And during this time, this is like before like ecom was really big and savvy, but I was one of the first people on e-commerce. Before Shopify, before Wix, before Squarespace, there was Big Cartel, and there was no Facebook. It was MySpace at the time, and I just started like hustling my way through high school, and eventually, like around 2014, I started like my actual journey with building my first ever clothing empire. Before it was just me making designs, getting by, going through things. And at 2015, it was like my draft to the majors. And that's when I built Tuned in Tokyo, which is my first 8-figure brand. We're the largest automotive apparel company in the world. And it's for car enthusiasts. So it's like Fast and the Furious meets streetwear clothing. And I found that hole in the market where there was no one in this industry that had a clothing brand. When you think about nowadays, every community has like their own merch, their own clothing. This is pre-vlogs. Like the word merch wasn't really even around. It wasn't used as it is today. So this is in 2015. So it's really, really early where e-commerce was starting to really be public and boom. Like people were starting to talk about Facebook ads. Like influencer marketing wasn't even a word at the time. And I found this hole in the market where there was no clothing brand for this community. And I love these cars. I love the Japanese uh, era of JDM. And it's because I couldn't afford exotics or German cars. You're leaning towards Hondas by default and Acuras and stuff like that. So naturally, I just wanted to make clothes for something that I was passionate about. And yeah, that brand started to blow up. We did about 700,000 our first year in business. Second year, we did 1.2 million. Uh, and this is like annually. And eventually, we just gone on to do 8 figures annually. And the second brand in 2019, which is the largest company that I've ever built, is Drip Creationz. And Drip Creationz, we are the largest shoe customizers in the world. And we basically took a simple concept of decorating shoes and having like the balls to scale that. So, what I mean by that is we had this crazy idea of being able to customize shoes at scale. And the only way you can really customize shoes at scale is by building a team. So it was less about branding and marketing and more about the logistics behind it. But because I had a decade of experience with fashion, clothing, and the different like details that go on with running an actual business, a physical business, like I'm talking about having employees, running a team, we were able to scale this to a 5-person operation to a 70-person operation. And our first year in business with Drip, we did 4.5 million in sales, and we grew our Instagram from 0 to 700,000 followers. Our first year, this is in 2019, and it was incredible for sure. Eventually, we went on to creating our own shoe called the D1. That was our like purpose with that brand. We didn't just want to customize Vans and Nikes. We eventually wanted to create our own shoe, and we did that in 2020. And then I ended up exiting the brand after 2.5 years. But we did over 8 figures in sales, and it was like the most amazing opportunity because I met a lot of influencers, a lot of connections, and Tuned in Tokyo was has been awesome. I still own the business, but my claim to fame has definitely been Drip.
That is so cool, Frankie. Frankie, with Tuned in Tokyo, that's currently doing 8 figures every year annually. Is it majority from paid media, organic?
So like we're not afraid to go above and beyond. Like with Tuned in Tokyo, we've checked off everything that we could have checked off. We're talking about like if you go on YouTube and you type in Tuned in Tokyo, you're gonna see me vlogging. Like I vlogged for my, I have like over 50 different videos of me vlogging. So I would do my day, my like 8 to like 6 o'clock, and then after 6 o'clock, I would vlog and work on my car. So I would do how-to videos and vlog throughout the day while I'm working on my business. So we've done that to build an organic flow. Our Instagram has over 1 million followers, so our Instagram is pushing like organic traffic. But for Tuned in Tokyo specifically, most of our revenue does come from like paid traffic. With Drip, a lot, I would say about 40% came from influencer marketing.
And then does that mean every single day you guys are pumping out and testing 5 to 10 different creatives, and you have a Facebook ads team that does that, and maybe one in every 20 creatives you could scale and make 50K out of that one creative, and just constantly rinsing that?
Oh man, we have so much content for Tuned in Tokyo. It's ridiculous. I'm at least getting a folder of over 100 different types of pictures and videos per month. So that's a constant progress of recycling over and over again. For Tuned in Tokyo, we have a smaller media buying team because what I realized is that I went from like agency to agency to agency, and the best way to actually do like media buying and just internal and marketing is keeping everything internal within your business, because then you have full control. Think about it. You don't want to outsource the most important part about your business, and that's the money making. That's the money making part. Anything to do with like controlling revenue should be internal. And yeah, I'm never going to be able to outsource that. Till this day, I am the head marketer for all of my businesses, and I am overseeing all of our marketing campaigns. So we over like just with Tuned in Tokyo, most of the time we have over 50 different active campaigns at a time on just Facebook alone. So like TikTok will have like 20. Google is a little bit easier.
And then how much percent of your traffic and sales and revenue is retargeting warm traffic versus cold?
Before iOS 14, I loved retargeting. It was about 60% retargeting, 40% new traffic. Now it's like 70-30. So 70% new traffic, 30% retargeting. Retargeting has gotten a lot more difficult over the years, but it's your follow-up game. So like just because you can't run ads and to that like entire list that you would have pre iOS 14, you can still do that follow up via email and via text message. So, like your email marketing, your text message marketing has to be on point and stronger than ever. And that's something that we take really serious. Another thing, too, is omni channel presence. You can't just retarget on Facebook, you have to retarget on Google, on TikTok, and give them like an opportunity to continuously see that same ad, that same product over and over again. Because most people think that just because they come to your site one time, that that's going to lead to a sell. More than likely, that's not. Someone needs to see your product 3, 4 times before they actually make a decision. And you might have to incentivize them, push them towards that decision.
Frankie, in the clothing space, when people might have, 20 to $30 profit margins, how do you get a CPA under $20 on like Facebook or TikTok ads, especially for clothing when it's not this hot sort of new product? How do you get CPAs at $10 consistently over the year?
So Facebook or just media buying in general has gotten a lot more expensive throughout the years. And the reason why it's more expensive because targeting has gotten a lot harder. Like all the different things that Apple has done for iPhone users specifically hasn't been in like an advertiser's favor at all. And because of that, it's getting more expensive. Think about like Facebook ads as, or just media buying in general, as you getting in a lake full of fish, but you don't know where the fish are at. So the longer that you're on that lake, the more time that you're spending, and time equals money in this case. And every single second, minute that passes by, you are spending money. Eventually, you'll catch a fish, but then you have to think about how much money you've spent until you've caught that fish. So it's really the same thing towards Facebook. You're fishing around until you find that perfect area of all the fish that are extremely hungry. And then you dive in, then you give it your all. So with Facebook, my strategy isn't really playing on Facebook strategy. My strategy is built around my business, my brand, and my product and my offer. So there's no company that I will ever build for the rest of my life that doesn't have an average order value of $100. And the reason why is because I need to be able to spend anywhere from $30 to $45 to acquire a customer at scale. Yes, you can get your $5, $10, $15 CPAs when you're spending 200, $500 a day on ads. But when you're spending $10,000 a day on ads, you best believe that you are going to spend 40 plus dollars to acquire a customer. So I'm thinking before I even start a brand, before I even do anything, I'm thinking about those things at scale. So when you set up your product, your offer, and kind of envision that you will be spending that much one day, you'll be fine when you reach it. And it's helped me over and over and over throughout the years. Plus you get that organic flow of traffic if you're doing events, if you're doing in-person sales and you're growing your Instagram, your TikTok and getting all of that organic, you're doing hype drops to all of your existing customers. So lifetime values going up too. And that's all of that. You should be looking at an overall 5 to 7x ROAS. And that's what I've been getting over out throughout the years. It was higher before, but that's what I'm seeing now for the past 3 years.
How did you calculate the ROAS and sort of take into account, okay, if I spend money here, the customer might get the touch point, then they might see us at an event, and because then they see us on Instagram, like how do you calculate that sort of overall ROAS?
Mine's simple. It's like how much did we spend? How much did we make? I use triple well. So triple well tells me that it's a clear indicator, true profit. But triple well is what I use, and it basically tells me how much I spent throughout all platforms. And I just calculate the day as is. Like I spent this much and this much to try to figure out what ambassador, what meme page, what direct traffic. It's just way too much and too crazy. At the end of the day, all that matters is how much did you spend and how much did you make. So over the last 7 days, where are you at? Are you at a 2? Are you at a 4x? And that's what we're always aiming for.
And then, Frankie, like, how do you get a AOV of $100, especially for clothing, especially on cold traffic?
Yep. So mystery boxes. 65% of our sales for Tuned in Tokyo come from mystery boxes. Or you have a product that's extremely unique that nobody can get. Like you can't buy that you can't walk into a mall and buy that product. So you have leverage, you have power. Another thing is high perceived value, which means dine-in service. When you go to a dine-in nice restaurant, you're expecting to wait. You're expecting to sit down, you're expecting to wait, and you're expecting to pay a lot more than you would at a drive-through restaurant. So every single brand where it's either a mystery box or the product itself is over $100, I make sure to formulate that identity that kind of tells that story that we are a dine-in service. This is a more premium product rather than your drive-through everyday Target, Walmart type of product.
Frankie, what is a mystery box and what is the business behind it? Like in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, it's a mystery box. There's probably a bunch of different clothing that would come in it. When you buy it, you sort of get surprised with whatever you get inside it. Yeah, I guess explain more.
Yeah, a mystery box is basically, like you said, a box that has a ton of different items, and it's more of a deal that you can't refuse. Tune in Tokyo, we have literally the best deal. It was a lot better back then, but obviously, like inflation, a lot of things have changed since. But we've went from like 15 plus products to for $100 to now it's like 11 products for like $120, which is still great. So like put yourself in a 18 like 17-year-old or 16-year-old kid's shoes. They're going to high school, and around summer they need to do summer shopping, back to school shopping. And if they can just buy one box that contains four shirts, two hoodies, one long sleeve, stickers, a backpack for $100 to $150, they've pretty much done all of their shopping in one go. And that's where we really thrive, is we're giving them a deal that they can't refuse. It's such a great deal. But there is a hit or miss. Like Tuned in Tokyo, we are a discount brand. We're not a premium, high perceived value brand. We're more of a bang for your buck brand. There's other companies that I've started that are the complete opposite, where it's one t-shirt is going for $80, one hoodie is $150. It's just, you have to pick and choose. Tuned in Tokyo though is great because we sell over 300 units a day. When you count everything, it's over 300. So over a week, we're selling thousands and thousands of products. So we have more leverage with our manufacturers. My manufacturers that I deal with love us. The people, my shipping carriers, the logistics, they love us. Everyone that we deal with Tuned in Tokyo, we get red carpet service because of how much business we bring them. With other companies, you may be selling 100, you might do 1 million a month, selling 1,000 order, or let's just say 100 orders. Like every order is like 10,000 plus or whatever. And you are only really giving them 1,000 or 100 orders. We're giving them thousands and thousands of orders, hundreds and hundreds of units per day. So at the end of the day, you just kind of pick and choose which one kind of floats your boat.
If someone was starting, because we do have sort of a younger entrepreneurial audience, is there like a hybrid between drop shipping and mystery boxes that you could do? Like, is it possible to find a supplier, find 10 products for like $5 each, and then sell this sort of mystery box with these 10 sort of products for 127?
I I mean, yeah, anything's pretty much possible, especially in China, but it's all depending on like your offer and your community at the end of the day. Like when I think about drop shipping, are you reselling products that are already out there in the world? That's the problem. Like that's what you find in the malls. Literally, that's what you find in the malls. What you want to do is you want to create your own products. So like even with Tuned in Tokyo, we some of I would say 30% of our products that are on Tuned in Tokyo are print on demand, but we're able to use apps, Shopify apps like MBC bundles, where you can literally like pre-pack everything from your supplier and get it shipped into one box pretty much. So you're shipping multiple items through one product. And so it's essentially like a mystery box. That's something that you can do. And again, it's print on demand. So all of those designs that we're selling are our own original designs. But to like drop ship and resell and put things into a box, it may or may not work. I'm not against drop shipping unless you have your own original products. I think that drop shipping, you really have to brand, private label, and just work like more intense. Like it was funny because in 2017, drop shipping was huge, bro. Like you can set up a drop shipping store and like a posture correction, like I don't know, backpack or something like that, that can really like sell hundreds and hundreds of thousands a month. Nowadays it's really difficult to do something like that. So drop shipping has definitely evolved, and I'm glad I didn't take that route. I had that chance to take that route and stop what I was doing and work on something that's going to be like make me a quick buck. But instead, I worked on Tuned in Tokyo. I was in basically Batcave and I worked on branding. Most importantly, I worked on how to build a community. So now for all of my products, I build products for my customers, for my community. It's never what I think is going to sell. It's never what I think like is trending or what I like. I build everything that I do around my customer. And so when I present an offer through a mystery box, through whatever it is that we're doing, it's all made for them. And when you're drop shipping, someone else made the, or reselling, I'm saying reselling drop shipping, someone else made those designs, someone else made those products. You didn't make those products for your customers. So it's just, you're going to have to work 3, 4 times harder than I do when I don't have to aggressively sell to my customers. Every time I run ads, it's already bought. My customers will automatically buy them if they have the money for it. If they don't, then obviously they don't. But more than likely, I don't have to explain to my customers why they need to buy my products.
Frankie, what do you think has the most impact on you being able to consistently get $35, $45 CPAs? Is it the creative? Is it the offer? Is it the landing page? They probably all have an impact. Does one have a bigger impact than the others?
It's there's so much involved, man. Like I truly believe that you have to constantly release new products on your site. We have a 37% return customer rate on Tuned in Tokyo, which is really high. So our lifetime value for our for if you look at my analytics, the lifetime value of my customers exceed like $700. So they're coming back again and again and again. And the reason why is because we're releasing new products every single 2 weeks, and we're also updating our site, so our site doesn't look the same every month. We're not doing themes, we're just updating the tiles on the on our homepage and the products that are on our homepage, so it's always being changed. And this gives someone, when they come back, a new feeling. Holy crap, there's all these new items, like whoa, where have I been this entire time? And you want that, you constantly want that. So that's helped a lot, definitely, with our CPAs. And we're really aggressive with like ads. I mean, I'm running over 50 different campaigns on just Facebook right now. So my strategy on Facebook is really low budget, so anywhere from $20 to $30 CBOs, 50 of them, and have like 8 creatives, 8 ads per ad set, and 10 ad sets per campaign. And these are just like new interest campaigns that I've built, and that's what's really helped. So it's just a ton of different doors and that are open with ads in itself, and I think that that's what's really helped. And our content too. I mean, I get over 100 pieces of content every single month. So we always do a shoot. We do two shoots per week. One is with the videographer that we send all of our products to, and one is with my business partner where he'll go out in the field and shoot himself. So we're always revolving. We always have a routine of shooting content every week, every single week. We haven't missed one week ever.
Wow. Is Facebook that powerful where if you have, say, 10 CBOs and you have, 10 ad set per CBO, and each one of those ad set has one product, one design, Facebook will somehow be able to find the winning product, the winning design, and sort of find the best of the best? And is that what you usually do? And just it's a numbers game, pushing out as many designs, products as possible, and letting Facebook pick the best ones?
Well, we know, like I read our analytics, like 60, almost 67% of our sales are coming from mystery boxes. So I'm going to make sure that the majority of our ads are mystery box ads. So
Mm.
I know, like I'm in control of everything that's being shown. Like right now, we just released a collection of like these like miniature like rim stuff. Like it's kind of hard to explain if you're not a car fan, but it's wheels, these miniature wheels. Um, and that's popping right now. Like we're getting like 18x ROAS on one campaign and 8x ROAS on another. So I'm duplicating it. I'm going crazy right now with those. So those, that's when I have to think like, okay, like my analytics are showing that this product is really selling. So I'm going to be pushing that more towards Facebook. So it's Facebook does a really great job at like optimization, but as far as like just giving it the option to like what to sell, like I'll never do that for sure. And I rarely send people to the home page unless it's an ad that has like more than 8 products, like a video that has more than 8 products. But if it's specifically on one product, I'm just gonna send them straight to that product page.
When you initially tested that wheels idea, what was your testing process? Did you start with retargeting, saw that it did well, and then went cold? Or what's usually your process for testing new designs, products, creatives?
Yeah, I think everyone has that. You just got to go off of that 80/20 rule. Like 80%, like 20% of your products are going to give you 80% of your revenue. So 80% of your ads should be on that top 20%. And then you should be just testing 20% over and over new products. So eventually something's going to catch. Like the wheels, I have a system. I have like a strategy, a formula system that I kind of just test with every single product. And it's like 4 different strategies. And if one of them hits, then we have a good product. But more than likely, I think that it's just like going through the funnel of like your strategies and just testing all of these out. If it works, it works. Then obviously we have like a really big email and SMS list that we're pushing these new products to existing customers. But I'm always paying attention to what products are selling weekly, and kind of like migrating our ad spend towards whatever is working. It's like playing blackjack, or like let's say you're in control of a gambler. Like let's say you paid someone to gamble for you, and you have 5 different blackjack tables, and 1 and 2 are doing great. Are you going to continue to gamble on those 3 other tables? No, you're going to put more money towards what's working. So that's something I'm always doing, is I'm doubling and tripling down on what's working.
Frankie, if you were to lose everything and you had to restart today, you kept all your knowledge, you don't have your sort of network and sort of influences that you know, maybe you have $2,000 or $3,000. What would you do in today's market, Frankie?
If I just had $2,000 to $3,000 and no network, no, what about like my wisdom? Do I have my wisdom?
You keep all your wisdom. You are you today.
Well, like I'm biased because this is all I know and this is all I've done. So I would build another clothing brand. And it's just because like if I have the smarts that I have today, I mean I built Drip with a $5,000 credit card, and we did 4.5 million our first year. So I would just figure that out. I would figure out how to build the next clothing brand, and I wouldn't be aiming for millions. I would be aiming for like 6 figures and grow it little by little, just to get my income from $3,000 to 5,000 or $6,000 reoccurring, and then eventually get to 10. So I would work my way up for sure.
And Frankie, how would you spend that $1,000 to $3,000 you have? Would you put it all on Facebook and hope to find a winning campaign, or is there a smarter way to sort of spend that money if that's all you had?
So I like, to me, the $3,000 is more than enough. And the reason why is because I started my entrepreneur journey with nothing at all. Like even tuned in Tokyo, I started it with nothing. So it's what you know. You want to get so good and so smart about your craft that when you tell someone to invest into your business or invest in a certain way, they will do it. For instance, with the brand that I had before Tuned in Tokyo, this was just t-shirts. I went up to a manufacturer and I told him, look, this is my vision. This is what I want to make. I believe that we're going to sell XYZ. And I told him the whole plan. I basically made a commercial for him. And he was so pumped up about this. And he didn't have a lot of money, but he said, look, what I'll do is I can't give you money. I can't invest into your business. But what I will do is if you help me, like after your job, if you come here and you help me like from like 7 to 12 o'clock at night, we will print all your t-shirts together, and once you sell everything, I just want a percentage of the profits. And if you do what you say you're going to do, I will redo that again until you tell me not to. And that person right now, he prints all of our mystery boxes for Tuned in Tokyo. So he's doing really, really great. So I came back one day and I gave him Tuned in Tokyo, and he's the happiest person. I've literally changed his life. And so I wouldn't do anything like, honestly, $3,000 is definitely enough if you have the wisdom and the smarts for sure. And if you're completely obsessed with what you're doing, because somebody will invest in you, maybe not with money, but with time, an opportunity, a connection that could eventually help you. And I think that that's what I would do, man. Like maybe an influencer doesn't know who I am because you said I can't use my network, but I would eventually, I'm like so ambitious that I would probably go to a meet and greet and kind of tell them the plan, the vision, that I can build you a brand. I can partner with you. I can work with you and use your existing audience and your fans. And I can do X, Y, Z. And together you promote and I fulfill and I create. We will build something huge that you can never build on your own. So I think that there's a lot of ways to make money. I'm just a little bit biased with what I've done over the last 15 years. So I wouldn't do anything else that's any different.
Interesting. So let's say someone saves the money, they sort of take your advice, they go the print on demand route where there's no upfront sort of capital you fulfill based on upon order. How would that individual then create the design, find a niche that they should enter, and then find and attract customers? Like even if you go to a show, you get an influencer to wear it and post it, that might give them 5 orders, 10 orders, so they've made $100, $200, and I guess they can just rinse and repeat that. But how do they get that to a six-figure business from only $3,000?
So what I was saying is I would try to partner with the influencer. So now
Mm.
you're like always getting that because influencers don't have time to build their own brand.
Mm.
Yeah, and we're not talking about merch. I would say let's build our brand together. But yeah, like obviously you can do print on demand. That's like really, really safe. And I'm always, I'm actually working on like the first ever print on demand service for streetwear, where I've recreated blanks that here in America are very expensive, really expensive, and now they're going to be affordable at print on demand with no minimums, and you can print your t-shirts just like this at no minimum. So that's something that I would like look forward to as far as like if I had $2,000 to $3,000. But number one, you said it. You have to find your customer, your niche, before you do anything. Like if you want to play it safe, you need to be able to provide designs or products that people want to buy, that you're not having to sell them to. For instance, in 2022, early or like actually I'm sorry, 2021, late 2021 November, I had this idea where I wanted to create jerseys and for Disneyland goers, not Disneyland specifically, but amusement park goers. Because I went there one day and I saw that everybody rocks these jerseys and they're always like rocking their family name, and it's kind of coming as a pack, as a team. And I thought it was really cool. At first I wanted to do t-shirts, but then I said, no, it needs to be more unique. And I saw someone wearing like jerseys and they're always wearing the ones that they buy at Disney and they're expensive. They're like $200, $250. So I basically figured out a way where I can recreate jerseys that are inspired by Disney, Universal, famous cartoons and stuff like that. And I started Park Friends, and I worked out a really great deal with the manufacturer by bugging them for 6 months straight to work out a no minimum deal where I can literally get orders in and they would fulfill those orders. So they would, it's basically like dropship but branded drop shipping. And yeah, with that brand, we're almost at 7 figures in sales. And I started that company with maybe like $11,000. So I kind of did it the same way. It's a little bit more expensive, but yeah, I think that I've always bootstrapped. Doesn't matter how much money I have in the bank account, I'm always gonna bootstrap my way up. And I think that the just high perceived value, unique products that are built around your customers will always work. And if you can get a no minimum, then you really have no risk. With Facebook ads, when anyone ever asks you, like an agency First of all, you should learn how to run your own ads. You don't want to go with an agency or a person. Most of the time, people are going to ask, like, well, what's your budget for marketing? My budget is make money and I'll spend more money. That's my budget. So, like, with ads, I start at 30 bucks a day and I just wiggle up slowly by slowly. Eventually, I'll get to 500 a day. And one day, maybe it's not doing good. So I'll go back down to 200. And it's kind of like riding waves. There's no set budget. My budget is I make money, I update my ad spend as soon as I make money. And if I don't, I slow it down. So I think that people can really build a brand with $3,000 as long as they're not investing into stock, as long as they're not investing into their own ideas, their own creation, their own delusional mind of that I'm going to sell this logo t-shirt and it's going to sell to everyone. Like, no, you should do the complete opposite. Figure out your niche, your customers, what they want, and then create designs, not logos, designs revolving about around what they want to buy with no minimums, then you really have no risk.
Frankie, with Park Friends, after you sort of locked down that sort of partnership, did you go straight to Facebook ads to start marketing your products? And was it profitable day one? If so, how and why?
So we didn't run Facebook ads for quite some time. Like I honestly I worked on that company for almost a year. I think it was like 9 months before we launched it. But over that time, like we did make some money. Like I would hit 5 grand 1 month, 10,000 1 month, and we would stop. And then because I was testing my manufacturer to see if they were going to fulfill the orders. We're talking about high premium jerseys here. They're not sublimated. These are embroidered patches. Oh, it's if you guys look, the details are amazing on that brand. So it did take some time. And so we would coast around like $10,000 here, then nothing, then $20,000. And the way I got that was organic. So we were doing Instagram reels, TikTok reels, especially Instagram when it was like TikTok was starting to pop. So Instagram was kind of pushing reels more and giving us really good attention. So that worked. And that most of our like or our sales really came organically, but eventually like towards the end I did start running ads. So towards the end of last year. So I think in no it was December. We missed Black Friday. It was terrible, but toward December, that's when we actually started running ads and we were profitable like day one. So we did 100. We basically the month before I ran ads, we did like 20,000 in sales. Then I ran ads in December and we did 150,000 plus. So then after that, it was just like even in January we did 180,000 of this year. So yeah, I mean we definitely like went too crazy like that we had to stop our ads and see if our manufacturer can deliver all those orders. But I think that's it's just we're creating products that people want to buy. And like I forgot to mention with jerseys, we put their name on there. We were able to put your name. So it's like one of one. You put your name, your favorite number, you choose like the inspired design that we created for you. It was in reality, we kind of just replicated what I did with Drip, with customizing shoes, and we did it with jerseys.
Frankie, and then how did you go about getting those initial 20K organically? Like 20K, would that be like roughly maybe 20 million views organically on Reels and TikTok, or even maybe less? I don't know the sort of conversion rates, but how did you get so many views before you guys even had an official launch?
It's the weirdest thing ever. Like I didn't look at our views, but you guys, you never know who's gonna buy it. Like even with Drip, like someone randomly bought our shoe one day and made a YouTube video, and the video got like 400,000 views, and we did a $20,000 day. And that's when the influencer marketing like light bulb went off. And the same thing happened with Park Friends. Someone that does like vlogging at Disneyland bought our jersey and automatically did it. Then we started getting a couple other influencers to reach out to us that are YouTubers, and some I think were TikTokers. So that was a great route, just like influencer organic marketing. Some of them bought it and kind of just reviewed it themselves and posted it on TikTok. And yeah, Like my intentions, like I don't really care too much about the 10,000 or $20,000 a month because I didn't run ads. I want to be in full control. Like influencer marketing, direct traffic is awesome, but it's not sustainable and not reliable. Like how long can you continue to write off of a reel, a video, a viral like post? Like how long will it last? At least with ads, you can keep it going. So my real test was in November of last year, late November. That's when I started it. When I started running ads, and yeah, it's like we built a multi six figure a month brand, and I think we've already passed seven figures in sales. But it's one of like the lower brands that I have.
Knowing that ads is sort of that long-term play because it's something that is consistent and that's something that you can't control, how do you know to go all in or put 9 months into something and then you haven't even tested Facebook ads? So are there stories where 9 months in you ran the Facebook ads and it flopped, or does that usually never happen?
The only one that flopped was because I couldn't run ads on it. So like I had this company that I was building called Squeakers, and I know it could work 100%. And it wasn't even that I couldn't run ads. Shopify flagged my products as alcohol, bev, and sex toys, and it wasn't. It was dog toys. That's what I was trying to sell, and I had the perfect name, the perfect like setup. I mean, it was beautiful. I was essentially turning like real life trendy people and products into dog toys and kind of like in a parody version of it. Right now, like the biggest thing, one of the biggest seltzers right now is called Happy Dad with Nelk Boys. We did the same thing. We called it Happy Pups, and it's basically a little can. It's so smart. And Shopify didn't let us like list our products and shut down my account. And after that, I was like, I'm not even gonna try to like black hat this or recreate it. I don't want any problems. That's the reason why I've stayed away from like CBD and the cannabis industry, because if I can't clearly run ads, if I'm gonna deal with a lot of processing issues, I don't even want to do it. So that's a company that I worked on for like 6 months, and then it's not that I didn't even have a chance to launch. I did shoot like content. I shot everything, and it's just a brand that I know could have worked. It's just, yeah. Other than that, I do everything for the long term. So I'm not here for like, what never has amused me, man. And like, I said this earlier with the drop shipping phase is quick money, because I think it stems from like my childhood. I want security. I want safety. If I do anything, it needs to make me money for like years, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe 10 years. Like Tuned in Tokyo, we started in 2015. We're 8.5 years old. We're almost about to be a decade. And I won't ever do anything for quick money. It just doesn't amuse me. It has never amused me. So sometimes you have to put in months, maybe a year, maybe 2 years before you get something off the ground. But if you're trying to do that for like the rest of your life, you're gonna have to give it the rest of your life. Like people quit in 5 to 8 months. That's like literally hilarious. Like why, if you're trying to do this for the rest of your life, you gotta give it probably the rest of your life to make it work. Bruce Lee was amazing at martial arts because he is a master at his craft. So I do believe in mastery. You got to get so good at what you do that people will eventually respect you for it.
Frankie, so like, let's say I have an idea. How do I know it's gonna work or if it's worth investing? Like, for example, I had an idea where I've seen other people do this already, so I was like, okay, maybe I shouldn't do it, but sort of doing print on demand, but have it be like Simpson cartoon shirts, and it'll be custom where we have a designer create like a Simpson version of you, Frankie, and you could put yourself on a shirt or of your family. You could send in a photo of your friend, and we'll do like a Simpson hoodie of your friend looking like Simpson yellow. Let's say that's one of the ideas. It's probably going to take 5, 6 months to properly build out, but how do I know if it would work after 5, 6 months and if I should invest 5, 6 months into this idea?
Because like you got to just be clear on your demographics. Like are they going to buy that product. It's not about like what you think is going to sell. Like, for
Mm,
instance, think about this with Park Friends. I am like I don't know if you're not from like United States, but California. When you visit California, the first thing you think about is Hollywood or Disneyland, like those two things. And Disneyland is quote unquote, like that's their slogan, the happiest place on earth. So I am building brands that are around what gives people joy and happiness.
mm,
So,
mm,
and on top of that, their favorite inspired movies, TV shows, cartoons. I'm blending in everything that they love with something personal on top of it, their family last name, their favorite number. So when you mix everything like that together, that's when you know you can build a unicorn product that's going to work. Then you have like all the leverage in the world. With Drip, when I approached like Logan Paul had like he was starting, he didn't even have, he had like a Maverick, something like a Maverick club or something. It was kind of like and his own OnlyFans, a club for his fans. And I basically sent him mock-ups, virtual mock-ups of a shoe, custom shoe with his logos on it. And it had Maverick and all these different like cool options. And he loved it. He's like, send it to me, please, like now. He sent me the address. I sent him the shoes. Next thing you know, he's rocking it on like some red carpets. And he wore it because of two things. One, he's now wearing something that he knows he can't buy anywhere else, and two, it's personalized for him. So it has something that he loves too. I think that there's some sort of formula there that I feel like people would, as long as they know that it was made for them, they're gonna end up buying it. And that's what I do with all my clothing brands. That's what I do. I give them what they want. So when you work on something for 5 6 months, you just have to be very sure that you're creating products for them. On top of that too, like I like that it takes 5 6 months because it took 5 6 months. If it took you 5 6 months, it's not that easy to recreate. So competition is gonna be kind of hard. Part friends, we have no competition. Drip creations, we have no competition. There's no competition because nobody has the balls to do what we want, what we did. And that's what you want. So the longer it takes for me, it's actually a good thing.
interesting. So, like for example, the average person in ecom, the amount of balls they'll put into something is they'll find a product that has proven demand. Let's say the body shaper. A lot of females love that product. It's proven to work. It's sort of solving a problem. It looks good. It's trendy. Kim Kardashian, all the Kardashians wear it. They might put in the effort to white label it, get nice packaging, increase AOV, put in some nice bundle, and that's sort of the amount of effort they're willing to do. How do you go about finding unicorn ideas that you can put in even more effort and has more potential? Like, what advice do you have when it comes to thinking of unicorn ideas?
So like one of the most poppin' like type of industries right now is the fitness industry. And everyone, whether you're a female or a male, like if you're a female, you want to create leggings, body shape, stuff like that. But what's unique about that? There that those products are everywhere. And everyone like entrepreneurs have like we're a little delusional at times. And I do my best to like not be as biased and step outside the box to see if this is really good. But most of the time, most entrepreneurs think that something's going to work because they clearly see that it's working in the industry, but it's already oversaturated. There's nothing unique about it. Now, I'm not saying it's not going to work for you. I'm saying it's going to take you so much more time and money to make it work for you. I
Mm.
don't have to work hard for anything. My products are already sold. I just got to get it in front of you. That's it. It was made for you. Why wouldn't you buy it? So that's why, like, I think that everyone's always trying to create products, man, that are already out there in the world. There's nothing unique about them. And I don't know. I think that maybe it's like I think that people are really missing the point when it comes to brand building. You need a creative director. So I believe that there's four major roles when you're starting a business. Four major roles, especially in clothing, but I feel like this applies to anything. At the very beginning, the first role is the most common one. You need a CEO. And by the way, these roles are roles. They're not people. So you don't need four people. You probably need two, and you guys split each role. But anyways, like the first one is CEO, which is probably like the leader, the visionary. You had the idea, you kind of see it, you see the whole entire movie rather than the details, okay? Then the second one, which is important, is the CMO. You need somebody that's in charge of marketing and all things marketing. The third thing is the COO, which is like the operations, fulfillment, and so on. And the fourth one that everyone forgets about is a creative director. You need a creative director. You need someone that has created different products and knows products, product building, R&D, and stuff like that, that can create like literally the architect. I always like think about like the Titanic. There was an architect that like built out the Titanic. So after the Titanic was built out with the architect and the engineers behind it, the CEO was the one that had that idea of the Titanic and the or he didn't even have the idea of how it looked. He just knew that we need to create a luxury like massive yacht for like that's going to be overly expensive and we're going to have the richest people come on this boat. That was his idea, but the way it looked wasn't his idea. So you need a creative director to come in and do that. And then you need a marketer, CMO, to get that boat or that idea in front of everyone, to invite everyone onto that boat. And the COO is essentially the person that's in charge on that boat. He needs to make sure that everyone gets from A to B, your products from A to your customers, and make sure that everything in between is operating successfully. So those are the four major roles that I believe that people fail to understand at the very beginning.
You're totally right about the fact that a lot of business owners or entrepreneurs, for some reason, they look for something that's already working and they sort of try to do it and do it a bit better. And all of a sudden, now you're putting in a lot of hard work to make it work. In the clothing space, how do you sort of like, where's the gap? Because it's basically, it's so hard to create a better design, create higher quality products, create a better cut, better fit. Like, it's so difficult to sort of push those barriers because those already barriers have already been pushed to its limits. So where's the untapped gaps?
That's easy. Like I said, I didn't want to stick for park friends. I didn't want to stick to t-shirts and hoodies. I chose jerseys. No one tries jerseys because they're too hard to do. Socks.
Mm.
Like that's the thing is you have to hone in on one style of product on the human body, whether it's
Wow.
watches, whether you're just a hat company, whether you're just shorts. You don't want to be the A to Z. Here's blah blah blah. We sell hats, t-shirts, hoodies, jerseys. Like you don't want to be that. You want to be known for one specific thing. Think about all the brands that are out there that always release that secondary or third product. Doesn't do that well. I see it all the time. It doesn't do that well. Drip, we tried clothing, didn't really work. Shoes was our bread and butter, and that's where we needed to stick to. So we were known for shoes. Don't try to like add X, Y, Z, because more than likely it's not gonna work. And you're gonna have like a problem with like brand identity for sure.
So as you mentioned that, I was trying to think, okay, what are some things that I'm currently wearing that there's no one that's like big comes to mind. So I was like, okay, rings, pens, maybe a scarf, maybe vest jackets, like, but then like how do like how does someone know and put in 6 months on like a pen company and sort of know that this could be something big? Because like even with rings,
There's no guarantee, but I feel like if you get so much attention in the world, like when you like get into high level marketing, you really like understand. Like think about this. I can put like a picture of dog shit on a t-shirt and there's 7 billion people in this world. It's a numbers game. So if somehow I press the button and all 7 billion people like saw this t-shirt, more than likely we would probably sell over $100,000 worth of this t-shirt. And you would think no one will buy a picture of dog shit. No one will buy a picture of this egg. No one will buy anything like that. But it happens. It's a numbers game. You knock on 1,000 doors, 100 might open, one might pull the trigger. So it's how can you do that without spending all of your money at the lowest cost possible? So if you guys really look, your best days with e-commerce are probably going to be the days where you have the most traffic on your site. Well, how can you get that same quality traffic every single day at the lowest cost possible? So, and at the same time, brand building. You will always win. Now, I'm not saying you're going to be a multi seven figure, eight figure, nine figure brand. Your brand might just be a low six figure company, and that's just what it is. But at the end of the day, it's all about like how much traffic, how much attention those items are getting, and when they get there, what are you presenting them? How does it look? So people just don't try hard enough, and at the end of the day, your products have to be $100 average order value, or you're wasting your time.
Wow. So now let's say you have a few items, a few ideas, like a ring, pen, scarf, vest. How do you go ahead and start narrowing down which of these are the best? Are there criteria that you look for, Frankie?
I just try to be unique. Like think about rugs. Rugs are a big
Mm.
deal right now. Like just off the top, rugs are awesome. Like people love rugs. Now, you don't want to be general about it. Pick a niche. Is it anime rugs? Is it whatever XYZ rugs? Pick a
Mm.
niche and just be that brand for rugs and go hard. Create content. Go super hard. Try to do as much as you can to be involved in that community. Like that's something that people just don't do. They don't do the hard work. And drop shippers have gotten like lazy. Like a lot of drop shippers didn't migrate to branded drop shipping because it was harder. I don't want to do influencer marketing. It's hard. Now I have to talk to people. I don't want to do events because now I have to put together an event. I want to work on my laptop in Costa Rica. Like that's just not what it is. No one does that. No one at a high level does that.
You're so right. Like all of a sudden, like you can go from selling a cap to selling anime caps, where it has like logos of different anime characters, and all of a sudden it makes it way easier to build a community.
It's all about the product with the community. As long as you have a great, amazing product that was built for them, it will sell.
Frankie, how do you go about building community? Like you can post organic content, get followers on your Instagram account, but then you might, as we all know, you can grow to 1 million followers, and every time you post, only 40,000 people, 20,000 people see your post, and like the people that follow you, they're not really talking to each other. There might be a bit of interaction in the comment section, but how do you build like an actual community?
So with Tuned in Tokyo, like we throw events. So we threw events for our community. We're always involved in like the car industry, car clubs and stuff like that. So just a ton of events that we've hosted and we've thrown ourselves. Like we've thrown at least 7 or 8 shows, and every single show has had more than 4,000 people attend. Our first one had 7,000 people attend. It's on YouTube.
Oh,
Tuned in Tokyo SoCal. Type that in, and you'll see how many people showed up. But like, yeah, it's always about that. And think about this. Like, I always look at communities that I know that there's specific public figures in it that I know I can make products for. If I can land an influencer, 3 or 4 of them, and they love this niche, they're heavily involved in this niche, and now I'm creating a product just for them that I can give to them, more than likely they're going to accept it and post it. And as soon as they post it, you start building traction there. And then eventually just running ads, you get follows, they come back, and or over time your community just starts to build, man. It takes time, but time is all we have at the beginning when you don't have nothing else you're working on.
rugs was one of the ideas you mentioned, and it just when you said it, I was like, yeah, rugs are really in the sort of hype at the moment. if you were to come up with five different ideas at the top of your mind right now, one, what would the five things be? And two, how did you know and think of those five?
I mean, so right now it's hot and it gets hot like most of the year, like year round in different areas. So shorts are definitely a good one, just to do shorts in general. And people stay away from shorts because it's not that easy to do.
Mm.
Denim is big too. So denim is something that I know I'm getting my like my hands in for sure. Like pants and stuff like that. Let's see what else. Rugs, I love rugs for sure. Canvases are a big one, and you need to like be very very good at I'm talking about the quality does matter with canvases. It can't
What's
be like no
canvas?
cheap China shit. These
Oh,
art. So art for sure. That's in a specific niche, not general, not for entrepreneurs, not motivational, because that's already been done. Don't be the Pepsi Colt to someone's cola, like it's just leave it alone. So that's four. The last one, I don't know. I'd have to really think about that. But those are a good four that I would start with, to be honest.
Frankie, what's your process of finding good designers that you can sort of rely on and sort of have control over? Because that might be a bit bottleneck. Like, let's say I want to get into canvases, I hire a designer that can make, anime versions of people, like create a One Piece version of you or a Hunter x Hunter version of you. Now, one, I'm relying completely on that sort of editor. Like, any advice on finding sort of great designers?
So I have it's kind of a little difficult because I have two designers that work for me, that have been working for me for quite some time. But I found them off of Indeed. We have like Indeed here in the States. And if you go to indeed.com, you can type in like graphic designers and they all of them attach their portfolio. So I would be obsessed with this because like designing is such a big deal to me. I would scroll through all the portfolios, and even if I didn't hire them full time, I would hire them to pay them per piece. But that's also another opportunity for you guys to find a creative director for your brand, because that's something you never want to worry about is these graphics, these designs. Like if you don't have it in you, like the ideas, well, you need to partner with somebody that is going to have them while you focus more on the business and the marketing side. Like you have to be self-aware of what you're good at and what you're not good at, and partner with the people that are better at that than myself. Like I'm not the best when it comes to like leadership, management, and I guess like accounting, finances, legal, and all that crap. I know it all. I've done it all. I hate it. So I always partner with somebody that can do those things, and I'll take care of the creative side, the marketing side, the branding side of things.
Frankie, with sort of organic content, social media, Facebook ads, all these platforms, with Facebook, they're always going to try to squeeze your margins. It's going to always get more expensive. With social media like TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, your reach is always going to get lower and lower. How do you sort of build something where that eventually you can sort of wean off these things and on its own, just off your email list, off your community, and I don't know what the best way to put your community together, but do it in a long-term way where it sort of has that flywheel effect and it keeps growing on your own and you're not reliant on these sort of platforms.
Yeah, it's really cool because like I said, Tune in Tokyo has a 37% return customer rate. So if we turned off our ads, we would definitely take a hit, but it wouldn't be the end of the world. Like maybe we do like yeah, maybe we do over seven figures a year with no ads, just our organic. And I
Wow.
think that that's really cool because like then there's a safety net there that we're not always having to like rely on paid traffic, but you still have to work hard. Those 37% are coming back to look for new products. And if you're not delivering new products, then it's going to keep going down and down and down and down. So I think releasing new products, new collections is really important, that you always do that. And that's what keeps like the brand alive in a way. And it takes time. Like this is an 8-year old brand, we weren't at first, like it was the funniest thing ever. We had hundreds of thousands of followers, and this is when Instagram was like in chronological order. We thought that because we had these large pages on Instagram that we were gonna sell $10,000 like right away. It took months before we even like got 10,000 in total sales. So it does take time, and we could have quit, but we just kept it going. And eventually, towards the last 3 months, that's where we made the most money. So it's just a process, man. You just cannot give up. Keep digging.
One of the things you inspired me because I know a lot of our audience, I have a lot of followers that are in the consulting sort of info product space, and that space is very dry, very boring. But then just chatting with you, now I'm starting to think of like, activities, events, filming content, showing all the different people coming together, and then now you're sort of building a community around around entrepreneurship and business around your, let's say, drop shipping, and bringing people together and then filming content that could attract more people. What are some innovating ideas that you might have when you look at a boring space like consulting and info products? Like, how could you spice that up? Because you can't keep launching new products because you usually only have that one product.
Yeah. Well, it's keeping things impersonal, like you said, events. I love events. Like I host my own events all the time, and I think that that's what like keeps me motivated is meeting new people, doing things in person, having fun, and always like revolving all of your like your brand identity, whether it's a personal brand or your business, around joy, the happiness of people. Like that's what's most important to me nowadays. Like before it was difficult for sure, but now like a lot's changed. I'm not so heavy on like revenue. Like I'm okay. I'm definitely like okay, and I still have a lot more to like learn and grow for sure. But as far as financial things, I'm not trying to be the next Gary V or a billionaire. I'm okay. Like compared to where I first started, compared to like where I thought I was going to end up, I've surpassed that by far. So I'm so happy with what I have. And yeah, I'm 31 years old. I feel like I could do another 5 more years of just grinding my face off, like eat shit, grind like my face off like I don't have a dollar in my name. And then eventually be like, okay, like enough's enough. Let's balance things out a little bit. Let's not stop, but let's balance it. Let's work on the health. Let's work on myself and so on. But right now I still feel young. I have a lot of energy, and yeah. But events is definitely a motivational thing for sure. In the digital space especially. I have my own master class too for brand building, and it's all revolving around clothing, and that's something that I've done to like keep people motivated and freshen up is I throw these events, these networking events for them, and they're having a blast, man. Like there's no better way of like keeping things fresh and cool if you're meeting them in person. Yeah.
Yeah. Now the only thing that comes to my mind is like it feels like it's not as scalable because you're having to put an event every 2 3 months. You're showing up in person. You're inviting people. You can only have say 100 people in a room, and then you can take content. The content might do well, and then after you reach X amount of people, then that content disappears. You might be able to reuse that content in the future, but it feels like this constant, never-ending sort of again and again and again.
Well, like you want to know, like those type of businesses aren't something you want to be remembered for, to be honest. So there's something called like 100 MME where I paid $100,000 to be in. It's like a club where it's like you have, in order to be in it, you have to do over 8 figures a year with your business. And I ended up being a part of it. When I got there, I mean, there is people that are doing hundreds of million a year, like heavy hitters in the coaching space, like your Ty Lopez's, your Gary V's, like the top of the top with the coaching space. I was one of the more popular people in that space because of my businesses.
Mm.
So although I felt like I'm a shrimp compared to these guys, these whales, I still was looked at one of the more popular, coolest people to interact with there because of literally my fashion brands. Everybody and their mama has always wanted to start a clothing brand. It's
Yeah.
like someone's dream. And I've done it over and over again throughout the years. Like, I don't know, that to me that matters. Like me being a coach, me helping people, that's awesome. Me providing a service to people, that's great. But my identity is with my brands for sure and my businesses. So keeping things cool, that cool factor is definitely not there in the coaching space for sure.
That's such insightful. For our female audience, what's your advice for them? Because right now there's makeup, there's beauty, there's body shapers, and all they can do is sort of find something and white label it. But then, as you're right, like it's already been done, it's already saturated. They can get those items from a different brand from Kmart, and then you can't, like, it's really hard to make a brand new makeup, a brand new fitness item. What would your advice be for female entrepreneurs in that case?
I think that it is like a heavily oversaturated industry, but man, you just have to stick to the code. Like the brands, the ideas that I gave you, it doesn't matter whether it's male or female. Like it just depends on who your community is. Like pick your demographics, your niche. Before you even think of an idea, a product, find out who you want to sell to.
Mm.
Then figure out what they like, what they hate, what they enjoy most, what they love, what magazines, what shows, what influencers they love, and then just create a product around all of that, and that'll answer. Because there's nothing that, like, if you can find the answer right in front of you, that's probably a problem for sure. You want
Yeah.
to be able to come up with something that's fresh, and it's not going to happen with anything that you see that's already been done.
Frankie, you were talking about sort of your upbringing and sort of growing up with not much money. What problems was making money able to solve, and what problems did it not solve?
So money solves like the majority of all problems. Money, like revenue, especially even in your business, it solves almost all the problems. You get now, eventually you get bigger problems, but if you make more money, you can solve those problems. There is nothing that you can't do in this world that can solve, even if it's like health. Health, like I'll make two scenarios here, and money is not everything to me, but it is a tool, so I learned how to use it as a tool. But with health, money can get you the best opportunity for health with doctors, nutrition, consultants that can help you build the best you possible. If my wife and I are fighting right now, if we just got in a big fight and it's pretty bad or whatever, I could just book a trip to Paris, first class, business, whatever, and we're having a great time. We'll make it up out there. You get what I'm saying? Like there's certain things that money can definitely help, and the majority of the problems in this world are money problems. And so that has definitely helped a lot. But that's just, yeah, I think that's the thing. Now, does money buy happiness? I think money buys opportunity for happiness.
That's beautiful. Thank you so much, Frankie. I had so much fun chatting with you today. Frankie, where can people find more about you? Look into your masterclass, look into your programs, follow your brands. Where's the best place for people to go to?
Instagram, so at Frankie Quiroz. Just shoot me a follow, hit me up on the DMs if you need anything, and I'd be happy to help.
Thank you so much, Frankie. I love how raw you are, how you're such an open person, transparent. You've been sharing everything, and you're so you. In the ecom space, you see all the different ecom people, and you're definitely just doing you. And I can definitely feel that.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it. That's what I'm here for. Thank you.
Thank you guys. If you guys made it this far into the episode, thank you so much for your time. Hopefully you guys gotten some value from today's episode. I really appreciate your time. I'll see you guys next week with another episode. Peace.